Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
7 days in Finland, Lapland, Glass Igloo, Northern Lights, and Santa Claus. Let's see.
From December to March, almost everything about Finland
What looks comfortable?
like the snow looks off.
defines a true winter experience. Not only are you routinely presented with stunning landscapes that only seem possible in movies, but the powdered snow and low-hanging sun frequently dance for your eyes. Add all of that to the
It looks like the shoes are glowing. That was pretty cool.
forever potential presence of the Northern Lights, and you have yourself a special winter wonderland.
Oh, so I guess you stay in the Glass Igloo to kind of see the Northern Lights, maybe. Ooh, interesting.
In this video, we'll share our week in Finland, getting up close with reindeer, breaking ice across the Baltic Sea, warming up in a cozy log cabin, exploring medieval towns with a
fire than an igloo.
day trip to Estonia, and yes, even meeting the Santa Claus in Lapland. This entire tour was literally brought to you by JEE Travels, who can book your own bespoke trip to Finland. If you're new here, then welcome. We make travel movies from around the world, hoping you might just find your next holiday inspiration. This is Suitcase Monkey, spending a beautifully snowy time in Finland. We'll join our trip on the 26th of December as we touch down early into Lapland. Covering a vast area, Lapland itself stretches across 4 different countries.
I guess it has to be like, because they're meeting Santa, right? So I guess I thought initially it would be like before Christmas, but...
For Finland, this is a sparsely populated region in the north, but makes up almost a third of the country. Here is the best chance to see the Northern Lights and take part in a myriad.
It's like a tourist attraction, like a lot of people will go, or it's like not
Definitely interesting. Definitely a tourist attraction. That I would think is interesting for people to see.
I never heard about anyone going.
Here it's not but at least where I grew up, that the Santa comes from Lapland. It's always from Lapland. Here in the States, it's the North Pole. I guess it's called, so it's a little different now. But in Europe, well, at least Eastern Europe, it's Lapland.
Of activities.
I already told you that in the
Our first 2 nights would be spent in Rovaniemi, the heart and commercial capital of Lapland. That heart is best on display at the official home of Old Saint
It's like
Nick
official
in the
Christmas location spot.
Yeah. I definitely think it's a tourist destination, but only in this December, maybe late November. Like the rest of the year, I don't
So
think
what
people
happens
go
the
there.
rest of the year? Does it snow there?
No, it doesn't.
Claus village, and if I'd have been here 30 years ago,
Like Aspen.
I would have melted.
Kinda, yeah, December is
Is snowing expensive here, or like snowboarding? Because here it's expensive in the States.
It's not a cheap sport. Because
If you've ever sent a letter to
you pay for lifts, like the equipment is not cheap, then you have to pay for the lifts every time to get up the building, or like maybe they're up the building, up the mountain. Maybe there's some sort of pass, to get, but still, the lodging. It's not a cheap sport.
Lapland with the name Father Christmas at the top, this is where it would have been read. Each year, 500,000 letters from over 200 countries are sorted right here. And there's a palpable feeling that you've just stepped into your childhood. Seeing the real-life letters from children all over the world warmed even my soul. But there is something very pure about seeing a bunch of adults write their own Christmas cards. And then you get the chance to either have it sent in the next few days or have it delivered for next Christmas, which for the UK's postal service is unfortunately the same thing.
That's funny.
Although this is admittedly a very commercialised attraction centred around Christmas, there is enough here that grounds it in its delivery. For example, this line here represents the Arctic Circle, marking the point where you've just technically crossed into the Arctic itself. Being inside the Arctic Circle means that for one day a year in summer, the sun will never set, and for one day in winter, the sun will never rise. Even now, a week later, we were only seeing about 2 hours of sun a day, and this often caused a magical filter over everything you see. With that filter in mind, we've had a husky ride arranged for us.
So what's the sun?
It doesn't.
It's dark or it's like this?
Well, kind of. I think it was like this, like he's showing.
Oh.
Like this, it's like a
But that dark.
dusk.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of. It's not like the night all day long, but it's like an extended dusk and extended dawn, you know, like that. That's how I imagine. Obviously, I've never been to, but that's how I would imagine it would be like. I don't think it's like 22 hours a day, just pure pitch dark. I don't think it's like that, but
Because I don't mind dusk.
because I think like a solid 14, 16 hours, it's pitch dark. But there is like extended dusk, extended dawn for like a couple of hours. So it's not just like 2 hours pure sun and then like maybe 2-4 hours of that kind of like gray area, and then the rest is dark.
Whilst we waited nervously for our meeting with Santa Claus.
You know, I would think this dog would be like, what is this? This is so nice. Husky?
Yeah.
I feel like the huskies, where it's cold, don't look like the huskies when they bring them over to the heat.
The huskies don't belong in the heat.
Yeah.
Cold dogs. It's too hot for them.
Yeah.
It's not good for the dog.
With our husky ride complete, it was time to meet the man himself. Even though he failed at getting me Buzz Lightyear back in '96, I was now old and indeed wise enough to look beyond this. And I was getting excited. Our 40-minute wait time was managed like a Disney queue as you snake your way towards his office. Before you enter, you'll see a bunch of celebs that went before.
My brother did this. I never got to do this before. Sit with Santa.
Oh. I was going to say...
Have you sit with Santa before?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think so. His voice narration gives like a TV show. Like I don't know if he was like a narrator at some point for like some sort of TV shows. There's something about his voice, like very calming voice, and it's just good. I don't know, the way it's narrated.
He has a strong voice because he says he wanted a Buzz Lightyear at 96, but 96, that means he's quite young. He's probably in his under 40, mid 30s.
Mid 30s, yeah.
Before you, Conan O'Brien, the Spice Girls, even YouTuber Casey Neistat. Then, all of a sudden, our time was now.
I would like to go sit with Santa. I have some talking to do with him. We have to have a discussion.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very good to see you. Happy New Year.
There are three
My
things that I
brother
learned
sat
from
on his lap.
Well, I don't think these people consider they're a little too big for the lab.
this experience. One, that despite numerous photos being taken, I froze the same face for all three, so try not to do that. Two, this is actually a really lovely photo. And three, that elves still use 720p. To round out the day, we returned back to Rovaniemi
That's
to check
not
into our
full
hotel
HD.
and have dinner. Although I've linked some of the individual activities and hotels in the description below, this entire trip from the transport, accommodation, excursions, and even some meals were all organised by JEE Travels. So if you'd like a full bespoke winter one or on SM Finland, as we'd be taking it.
This is impressive for me.
It's really good production.
A 3-hour drive had taken us across the Swedish border and onto the Polar Express, an 80-metre vessel built with a reinforced hull strong enough to cut its own channel into frozen water. Once the ship had laid down its anchor, the ice was thick enough you could actually walk out onto the sea.
I don't know about that. I would not. I'd be too scared. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm like, I need a life jacket for just to go in the simple water.
I'm good.
This, I need a rope, a life jacket, some heated gear, some flippers.
Although even this went slightly against my instincts, it wasn't actually the main planned activity here. And that's because if you want, you can swim here. The thought of paddling in a sea that has allowed 20 centimetres of ice to form on top didn't exactly sound like a good idea.
No.
But once I saw a 5-year-old going in, I kind of felt I had to.
No better than
the garments provided are referred to as a double-layered survival wetsuit and gave me some confidence when putting it on.
I would be. You would do this?
Teletubby going through.
I don't yet see the point of doing it if they already covered like this. Like, what's the?
What do you mean?
Why are we going in the water? Like, he's all covered with the wetsuit. Like, it's not like he's going there naked. Because I get, like, you know, that the cold bath to go, like, yeah, but this, I'm not exactly understanding why we're going in the water.
Through a midlife crisis, I braced myself and styled it out.
Oh, that's what you go do?
And then...
I'm kind of...
And much like Lieutenant Dan, I had made my peace with God.
Okay, does look nice. Maybe I do it. But wow.
We had our first of 3 nights where we'd be hunting for the sometimes shy Northern Lights. Our very first holiday together back in 2015 was to Iceland, and even after 5 nights, we still never saw the lights, so we hoped this time would be different. Whilst keeping an eye on the skies above, we were treated to this lavish barbecue with sausages, corn, and soup to keep us warm. To see the lights, you need 3 things: clear skies, darkness, and solar activity, which is what the lights are, the interaction between solar wind and the Earth's magnetic field. The aurora season starts late August and finishes mid-April, with September and March being the most active, especially around the equinox. The northern lights can be seen in Finland, Sweden, Norway, northern Russia, northern Canada, and Alaska.
Oh, we have
for
chance.
this evening at least, it was not to be. The good news is that the higher on the map you climb, the better your chances are. So tomorrow,
which is the best chance? Here in Lapland or like in...
Well, no, it's just the higher.
Which one is higher from the way he listed?
I think all countries can go high. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Be driving 3 hours north, staying in a glass igloo, and keeping our fingers firmly crossed. But little did we know that just simply arriving at our next resort would be a highlight on its own.
So, no be fun. You okay? If there's no northern lights. I wonder what time they start happening. That's interesting.
When it gets dark though.
Yeah, but you're waiting for like you're waiting, and then how you know? Not today. That's so wild.
I'm not sure exactly.
Nature is beautiful.
It is very beautiful winter.
It looks so soft. Look. How cute. I've only seen things like this in the TV, the movies. Can't believe people live like in this cold weather. Wow. Look how you have to take your luggage.
Makes sense.
With our surroundings, it was time to check into
You know
our
what I would
room,
be
for
doing?
want
I
of a
would
better
sit in a
word.
car and be pulling.
The Kaxlautonen resort we were staying in was actually the first in the world to come up with the idea of housing guests in a glass igloo.
That's pretty
The
cool.
outer shell itself is made from thermal glass, heated on the outside, insulated on the inside.
Ah.
So even though it was covered in snow when we arrived, it soon began to melt away, opening up the skies for viewing. This has long been a personal bucket list entry.
Okay, that is cool. This is this
So it's not cold.
Yeah, it's not. It seems it's not cool. It's a really cool experience. That's nice. It does look really cool.
For me, and this unique experience didn't disappoint, even with cloudy skies. One major word of warning though, please only book this room if you are extremely comfortable with your other half.
Nice to have a bit of privacy.
Even without the lights tonight, we'd already done so much on this trip, but what we didn't know is
Can
that
we go
our favourite
outside
2
too?
days was still to come in this video.
Not in the bathroom, but I would think that in the living room. Yeah.
I think you turn off the lights.
I mean,
What
it
can we
is.
see?
So that we could sample different types of accommodation, our second night here would be staying in a log cabin.
Ooh.
Whilst waiting for the room change, we did what would become our most treasured activity.
That's actually quite
This
smart.
incredibly
Where the log
To
cabin?
do half in igloo, half in log cabin.
No, log cabin is cool, but log cabin you can do like anywhere. Like this, here I feel like God is at least one day in the igloo. I think that's a very unique experience. I've never seen it before. I definitely would want to do it.
peaceful reindeer ride was a joy, and it seems we also made a new friend along the way.
Wow.
That is
Wow.
cool too. That's cool. I wonder how they train them, because these are wild animals. So how do you train them to just like follow you?
A lot of good treats.
That looks like a baby, like a cat.
An hour in this -degree temperature, it was something we were both used to and prepared for by now. So, despite looking like an evil bandit who didn't know his arse from his elbow, I was surprisingly comfortable. There is a chance I may be making a follow-up
Experience such cold, you have to cover your face.
tips video about visiting Finland, covering what to wear for such a cold climate, guides for using public transport, renting a car, alternative itineraries and costs.
Driving in the snow?
So please leave a like on this video and let me know in the comments
Better
if you
with
think
the
this would be
dogs.
useful, and I'll link the video here if I end up making it.
Oh, this is cute. The
From our
lodge.
favourite activity then to
I
our
like
favourite
it.
room. There's something very special just walking around this mixture of cold
No, all this is cool. It's nice to experience the snow, but for a weekend. Like the
Oh,
problem.
we can think so?
The problem with this cold ass winters, it lasts so long. It feels like it's never ending. That's the problem. Like as a vacation spot, it's amazing. Especially when you live down south, to go there in winter. Oh, it's definitely a cool experience. But to live there like permanently, that's rough.
old white snow and cozy log cabins. Maybe on some primeval level it latches onto the instinct of making a home in the wilderness, feeling safety and warmth inside. The room also had its own private sauna,
Oh, wow.
which is an immensely popular Finnish
That's
pastime
cool.
for obvious reason. This would be our final night in Lapland, so the last best chance we had of catching the northern lights. After a peaceful few hours in our cabin, there was a murmuring of some light activity happening outside in the resort. So we paused Golden Girls and raced into the cold. Not prepared, I hastily threw on a handful of clothing, not layering up, so was absolutely freezing whilst looking at the clouded sky. So after 25 minutes, we called it a night and got back to Blanche. There are actually alarms in every room here that alert guests when the lights are visible, so this time I went to sleep better prepared, ready for a spontaneous wake-up, dreaming of that Iceland
That's
trip
nice.
where we missed the
That is cool, huh? That's very cool. I guess they prepare that people come to see the lights.
lights years before. Now the obvious way to climax this section of the video
Like,
is
can
to
you
then
imagine
see
getting
the
a bad review? There wasn't even northern lights.
That's stupid.
northern lights. Well folks, sometimes life just doesn't go that way.
But I can imagine some people being like that.
Unless, of course, you don't count this. Thank you, Mother Nature.
I would have loved to see it in person.
Now, if you can remember 12 minutes ago, I said we'll join our trip on the 26th of December. And that's because our holiday actually started 2 days prior on Christmas Eve as we touched down into Helsinki.
Let's go,
Finland's
Helsinki!
biggest and busiest airport is obviously here in its
This
capital,
is an airport?
so it's the most popular
That's an
entry point for
airport?
most people.
That's not an
Helsinki sits on the
airport,
southern
that's
side of
pretty.
Finland, and just below Reykjavik is the second most northern capital in the world. Unlike many countries though, Finland's most important day of Christmas is actually the 24th of December. So, as the locals were opening presents, we explored the city on foot.
We saw these, the trams.
I'm impressed by the airport. Helsinki! It's nice when you just got to your vacation spot and you're like,
Become one of our most memorable. I mentioned earlier that 2 of our favourite days lay ahead in this video, and this was the second. Just 2 hours from the West Helsinki port lies one of the best preserved medieval towns in Europe and makes for the perfect Helsinki day trip. Tallinn is the capital of Estonia and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which, if you do have the time, is definitely worth the trip.
that's wild. Cars coming through this small little street.
Yeah.
Thank you to JEE Travels for sending us to
That
all
was
these
quite beautiful. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts.
magical places.
Let me know if you have been and what was your experience like. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.